Hello, and welcome to Last Time On. This is the podcast for people who want to watch all this prestige television, but who has time for it?
I mean, I can fly all the way around the world in one night, and I still don't.
Thank you, Santa Ben. I'm Victor.
I'm Xhafer. Ben just wrapped up a run as Santa Claus in a local theater production of Elf.
Please tell me there's video.
I don't think there's any video.
There's a bunch of pictures.
There's a bunch of pictures. I will be posting some of the pictures to the Discord, and we can put some in the Facebook as well.
Yes, you must.
But some, depending on the show, they get real finicky about, are you allowed to record it at all? If so, who is allowed to ever see that recording?
Yeah.
So, for example, I was in Annie a few years ago. You could record it. You could give recordings to the cast. Uh-huh. No one outside of the cast family is ever allowed to see those. Or if they find out about it,
there's got to be like a copyright.
The licensing company will sue the production.
Yeah.
Now, that is one of those things where it's, if I had all of you guys into my room at STLV and we watched me and Annie, because for some reason I had you all at gunpoint. I don't know why that would happen.
You did well as Daddy Warbucks. That was a good production.
Nobody would ever be getting sued by that. But if I threw it up on Vimeo and was just like, don't tell MTI that we did this, Music Theater International, they're the people who make it, then the production would probably get sued.
Yeah, earlier this month when I went to go see Con the Musical, they mentioned that they were strict about no recording. Like, there was one hilarious part that I recorded on my phone, and one of the cast members, I think it was Savick, she broke character and pointed at me and was like, no.
The last few shows I've done have been, we can't even record this to watch it with just the people in it.
Fucking copyright. Well, anyway, so yeah, we are back and we are doing we made it, guys. We made it to the final episode. Holy crap.
So we got to the finale.
Yeah.
And I have feelings. I also have some complicated, so outside of the scope of this podcast, I watched this, did my notes watch for this, and then immediately went and did my watch notes of the first episode of Battlestar Galactica for the next season of Who Are You That, starting in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that means the first half of the
miniseries.
Miniseries. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
So watching this and then that back to back was hella fucking jarring.
Really? How so?
There's just tonally a lot of whiplash.
Yeah.
Because you would think that this would be darker, but the Battlestar Galactica miniseries, I forgot they killed a baby in that shit.
Yeah.
So I listened to...
That was fucked up, yeah.
There's a great podcast that is Tricia Helfer and Mark Bernardin, the writer. And they go back and they did a rewatch of Battlestar Galactica, and she talked about how Tricia Helfer's sister had just had a baby.
Oh my god.
And 5 minutes into Battlestar Galactica, she watches her sister murder a baby, and she's just like, I'm not watching this show, and you're not invited to Thanksgiving. I'll let you know when I've worked through that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they fuck, dude. Yeah, they ripped that Band-Aid right off. It's okay.
But it is interesting thinking about Battlestar Galactica as, the middle piece, because we have Stargate ending on sci-fi.
Yeah.
Overlapping with Battlestar Galactica, and we already noted the tonal and production differences between those shows.
Yeah.
And then we have Battlestar Galactica, and then I believe there's a little gap, and then we get into The Expanse, and it's we've covered three different sci-fi shows.
Mm-hmm. Sci-fi, sci-fi, the SYFY, sci-fi.
And it's just we've come a long way since...
It's been a long road.
It has been a long road, but we've come a long way since our Stargate CGI, but also how we're tackling these problems, what kind of stories they're telling, and what's going on here.
To take it even a step further, Stargate started around the same time Babylon 5 ended. And so the evolution of CGI over 30 years is kind of like covered in my podcasting au revoir, I think is the word at this point. And so it's I forgot. I mean, the CGI in this is just 1,000 times better than the Battlestar Galactica miniseries. I forgot how bad it was in the Battlestar Galactica.
Really?
Well, we even mentioned how much better that is than the Stargate finale.
Yeah. And I mean, we just did Babylon 5 Lost Tales over on Who Are You? And even that was like
that was
directly compared to how good the CGI in Battlestar Galactica is and how bad it is there.
I'm
and
sure
it's
you guys
just
talked about this in your episode, but yeah, the Lost Tales, it was just like, wow, it's very obvious that they don't have access to the original sets anymore, so they just green screened. It's really looked like just actors in front of a fucking green screen for the entire background of the space station. So
there were a couple sets they had built, but you are 100% correct. There's a whole lot of that.
Xhafer, I
Yes, Ben.
was prepared to watch it until I was told by you guys, do not. So I did not watch Legend of the Rangers until
so bad.
I, against my will, saw a GIF of the punch kick fire control system. And I was just like, this retroactively makes all of Babylon 5 worse.
Good shooting, Sarah.
It's Babylon 5 is now like half a point worse because of this.
Yeah. Well, anyway, speaking of other sci-fi franchises,
we got to do our tie-in.
Here we go. It's the final round,
I'm
and
ready.
I was going to go ahead. I was going to, for this final chance at a bonus point, I was going to say, Ben, you have the option to decide whether you go first or Xhafer goes first, since I haven't tallied up the entire scores, but I tallied up this episode, and yeah,
I need it.
Yeah, you got 0 points this episode for your predictions.
No,
Xhafer almost ran the table.
We're gonna talk about it.
We'll get there. Yeah,
we'll talk about it because I think I might. Well, I didn't. No, I got at least one. I got it.
Well, we'll talk about it at the end. I might be wrong.
I'm going to make a very hard pitch for 5, but Xhafer's going to be mad.
Well, we'll get there in the end.
So,
do you want to make the first guess?
I'm going to go
Xhafer?
first.
Okay,
cool.
Because we've been, and if I'm right, don't say anything. Stone face. But I'm going to say we have been kind of circling around Mars, and this is just me overthinking things and being like, hey, Ben, let's be esoteric and dumb. And I'm like, ooh, is it War of the Worlds? And like, is it that? But no. I am going to just go, what was in the zeitgeist at the time, and what is the most on-the-nose Mars thing I can pick? The Martian.
you got it. You nailed it.
Victor, I just said be stone-faced and don't say anything.
Well, you won.
Okay.
No, dude, you nailed it. Oh my God, you fucking got it.
Seriously? Okay.
Like Andy
that's
Weir's The Martian.
Andy Weir's The Martian. So in book 6, coincidentally enough, Babylon's Ashes, in that book, there is a spaceship. It's a colony ship, I think, called the MCRN Mark Watney. And that's the main character from The Martian, Matt Damon's character in The Martian. In it was the 2015 or 2016 San Diego Comic-Con, the authors of The Expanse had a panel with Andy Weir, and apparently they met each other and just hit it off. And through sort of a mutual agreement, they just decided that their stories take place in the same universe. So technically, The Martian is a prequel to The Expanse. Now, I do have to say, yesterday I did a little bit more research just to confirm this, to make sure I was remembering everything correctly. Recently on an AMA on Reddit, one of the authors, I forget which one it was. I think it was Ty Frank or Daniel.
Yeah,
one of them. One of them said that was just said as a joke, and quote, "This should keep the copyright lawyers in their cages." So, I think for legal reasons, they had to be like, "No, we're just joking."
Well, I'm really
But
glad I
in
didn't
the
go
fandom-
with 1997's Rocket Man then.
I haven't seen that.
It is god awful, but it's also about
I
astronauts
wouldn't
on
have gotten
Mars.
Yeah, you nailed it. I was not expecting you guys to get it, but good job. So, extra bonus point for Ben.
I was just like, what's the most Mars thing I can pick?
The Martian, yeah.
I was just like, okay, the OG. Well, I think they would talk about. I could imagine Avasarala being like, "This is the worst bullshit than the time all those Martians showed up with those tripods and started shooting everybody." Like, she would have been like dismissive and had a wonderful turn of phrase if
Yeah.
War of the Worlds was real.
I was gonna say if either of you really wanted a hint, I was gonna say potatoes, but that might have been too much to give away. That might have given it away. Well, what was gonna be your yes, Xhafer?
I had a fake guess and a real guess. I was going to make a joke about Thursday Night Football because Amazon's been shoving that down our throats. But my actual guess was going to be Chariots of the Gods.
Didn't you mention that last time, or am I thinking something else? Or...
No.
No, last time was the Martian Chronicles.
Yeah.
And
Chariots
Old
of the
Man War.
Gods and the
Old Man War. That's what it was. Yeah.
Chariots of the Gods is like not technically a science fiction novel. It's not nonfiction, to be absolutely clear. But Chariots of the Gods is a book that came out in the 70s that posited that a bunch of the things in ancient religions that happen to align are there because aliens visited Earth.
It's ancient
the
aliens
and
bullshit.
The History Channel.
It is the ancient.
It's the
aliens
text,
bullshit.
yeah.
Yeah, it is exactly. It's the origin of that. But before it was Ancient Aliens, the TV show, it was one of the main inspirations behind the Alien franchise.
What? Alien friend? Like as in Sulaco, Ripley, all that?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, H.R.
'Cause there's-
Geiger's work.
Well, and also
I can
the-
kind of see how that. Yeah.
The engineers and
Yeah, the
Okay,
Prometheus,
yeah.
all that stuff. It also has some like stuff with Neon Genesis Evangelion. The Wikipedia article does call out Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as being influenced by it, which I think is hilarious. But it's also very Stargate-ish. I mean, it's quite literally the plot of Stargate.
Right.
So I thought that might have been one where it might have been a different thing and they kind of leaned it into the Ring aliens in some way or the creation of them. But I would not have guessed the Martian. So points.
Yeah.
sometimes
I'm
people
super
are so
surprised, yeah.
confused as to how brown people can make a triangle pile of rocks that they're like, it must be aliens.
Yeah, it's aliens makes more sense than just not being racist. So,
Yeah.
How can brown people make a pile of rocks in the most stable way to make a pile of rocks?
I fucking hate.
They're
hate
smart
people.
and they did stuff. It's like,
They did
no,
math.
that can't be it.
Speaking of brown people being smart, so like my mother actually gave me some really good advice today. It's just some of the most Mexican advice ever because she called me and I'm like, Ma, I really can't tell you right now because I'm sick. I'm getting over the con flu ever since I went to Star Trek Dallas last weekend, and she, every time I swear she's got some new Mexican folklore type of fucking remedy. Like she was like, Hito, you need to light a candle and put an egg in your ear or some weird shit that her grandmother did. But this time she told me to eat a whole ass garlic clove raw. And I gotta tell you guys, it works.
I mean, I just do that now for fun.
Fuck, dude, you're more of a man than I will ever be because, dude, for fun, dude, it clears out your sinuses like nails it.
I mean, yeah, it isn't a long-term solution, but it is a temporary respite.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh god, it freaking worked good. So
I am considering that right now because I finally at long last am seeing an allergist tomorrow.
ooh,
Because I I've basically had a sinus pressure headache for the last 6 years, and I'm finally getting into a doctor because,
Yeah.
well,
Side effects may include sea shanties and dad jokes.
oh man, that's all natural.
Well, speaking of all natural, or unnatural, I should say.
I don't think we know, but
How do you guys feel about this this opening?
Not great, Victor.
Fuck.
Not great, because we open in media Dead Kid's family.
Yeah!
They
the
are a going
dogs
concern.
fixed him.
The dogs fixed it.
And
Now, I will say, now that we're here at the end, I can let you guys know, every episode of this final season started with a short, 10, 15-minute snippet of the story of these colonists. And I really feel like with the dice rolls, you got the whole summary of their story of these colonists and the little girl and her little brother, just in 2 episodes. Like you got the whole summary. You didn't need to see the rest of them.
Okay. I assume this is stuff that would have led into season 7.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have it in my notes later, but it really feels like they were setting up that somehow Duarte is our next big bad.
Yep, nailed it again, dude. You are on the point tonight, Ben. Damn.
And I'm just like I don't like this. And everyone, this is me. This is Ben, your internet dad.
But I'm not a daddy.
And I'm your daddy.
I love you. I support you. If you ever die and come back, that's cool. Just don't march at me demanding a hug until I'm able to understand what's going on. And if you have like weird, super fast twitches as part of that, which, okay, this kind of annoyed me. She comes back and she's just like, Dad, it's okay. I saved Zan. And Zan is just like, hug me. And I, as a father, do not know what then seeing my son coming back and being like, Daddy, hug me, would do to me. It would not be good. But the thing that annoyed me about this is as soon as the parents like run away freaking out, the kid is immediately not twitchy and suddenly erudite. Wait, so is he like a barely functioning Frankenstein? Or is he himself back just kind of wrong? Like, what is going on here?
I think there was actually a little bit. Well, we're at the end of the season. I can go ahead and.
You're at the end of the
drop some
show,
spoilers.
man.
End of the show, yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the previous little mini-sode of this little story, when Zan was brought back, he was doing that. He was like, his personality was shifting in between like moments of, where am I? What's going on? Calculating air temperature, barometric pressure is, I think he had a little bit of that to where he was like twitching back and forth between. I think I might have to go back and watch it, but yeah, it was. He's not all bits and pieces of him are there. Kind of reminded. Speaking of Battlestar Galactica, it kind of reminded me of the. What are they called? The Cylons that run the ship.
Yeah, the navigators.
The bathtub. Yeah, whatever they are. But
Yeah.
anyway, earmuffs, Laura. I haven't gotten there yet.
But yeah, this did feel like. But the fact that he was, the fact that he was weird and twitchy, and then after he gets thrown into the closet, comes out and is just like, "Oh, they were afraid of me," and it's like, "Yeah, of course they were. You were dead, man." Like, I understand kid brain and stuff. Like, I see my parents. I was dead. I want a hug. But like this was weird from a like. I don't know that I would go to immediately knifing my reborn child. That said, if I knifed them and then they immediately healed, I'm probably going, uh-oh, crazy space bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was really interesting. I think so. That was adapted from a. I think one of they released a bunch of short stories in the Expanse universe, and that one was literally called Strange Dogs.
I mean, apt.
Yeah. I think
then
you
we
briefly see the dogs running in the background.
Man,
You see them
when they-
jumping through the trees.
Yeah.
When the parents run out and the sister had left a voice recording of her, I had written down these fucking dogs are mimicking her voice and I'm losing my mind, and then had to cross it out because I was wrong. And I was so upset because that would have fucked with me so hard.
Yeah.
If it was just they run into a dog and it's just mimicking their dog's
Well,
voice.
so Xhafer, if you want to watch a piece of media where there's inexplicably important children and aliens that are mimicking voices, might I suggest you pay some real human money and watch The Predator.
Oh,
I think.
come on,
I'll
pony up.
pass.
We all got to do it. We all
But
have
we
to
do
it.
get-
It's your turn.
We do get Admiral Duarte staring up at our new expanding and growing spaceship.
Proto-molecule spaceship.
Proto-molecule
Yeah.
spaceship.
It's
I'm just
the
like-
correct term is the goo ship, Ben.
Yes, the
You
goo ship.
coined-
Yes.
you coined
That
it.
somehow the kids got to on their own last time.
Well, I'll explain that in the recap episode.
Yeah,
so.
but it was. We get Duarte looking up at it like, yes.
He's our like third or fourth mad scientist in this series.
We then cut over to a briefing where we get one of those things that I'm very excited as predicting that our show was going to end with Earth, Mars, and Belters fighting against somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, you did nail that one.
That it is now Earth, Mars, and Drummers, Belters fighting
Right.
against Marco's Belters. But we do get one of those things that annoys me in TV where there is a thing that shouldn't exist, and instead of just being like, okay, in order for our story to progress, we have to pretend like this isn't stupid. And instead we get somebody commenting on it, and it's like, commenting on the stupid thing doesn't make it not stupid. You've just
Yeah.
And that thing is we have this like all of Earth's forces plus all of Mars's forces plus Drummer's people might be enough to match Marco. And it's just like, how is that possible? Mars, for the last few hundred years, has only been a martial society. Earth has been on par with them. And then we've got plus some Belters who are impoverished, downtrodden. Yeah, they got a lot of ships, but they don't have a lot of, like, other shit. Like, yeah, sure, okay, we've got some Belter pirates, but it was never enough that they were ever to be, like, their own functioning block or government.
Well, I
will
will
explain-
posit this, Ben.
I'm making I'm making a mental note right now to explain this in the recap episode because I think it's really well put together how we get here. But
These-
go ahead. Sorry.
Marco's army, we don't see them flying Belter ships.
Yes, that's part of it.
They're 100% flying Martian ships, as far as I can tell. I don't know
Yes.
enough of the differences, but it feels like
know
they're Martian
Marco
ships
is.
based off the design.
That was
Well, anytime we've seen other ships, we've seen other ships besides Drummers, because Drummers is very much a Belter ship. And we've seen other Belter ships in the backgrounds of like Zoom calls and stuff. But everyone in Marcos group I feel like they're flying Martian ships for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll get into the details of it. I'm really excited to do the recap episode. But yeah, Mars lost 1/3 of their entire fleet during this entire thing. Not necessarily to Marco in battle, but a third of the Martians defected and went and started their own government. So that's why they're all taking orders from Avasarala here.
Well, also because it's Avasarala, and every room she's in charge.
Oh yeah, she's just got the curse above
And it's
everything,
just
yeah.
like, I don't
Because-
care who, like, they have this Martian president throughout all of this, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up, dude. You don't matter. Like, it's like, you are not on, there's no parity here. Like, Drummer is, like, barely holding her own. This is Avasarala here. Like,
Yeah, she's got enough charisma to freaking crush an asteroid. Yeah.
but we find out that Marco is not content to have expanded to 1,000 locations in the continental U.S., Puerto Rico, Mexico, and India. Marcos is expanding to the ring.
No, in this briefing, Avasarala's aide, who is explaining everything right here, the UNN admiral, he's played by Conrad Coates, who you may recognize from everything. This guy has had bit pieces in just like every fucking sci-fi show ever. I recognized him from season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. He was the Vulcan admiral on the board of admirals in Star Trek Discovery, and most recently he was in Star Wars Outlaws as well. So this guy's just
Who is he in Star Wars Outlaws?
It doesn't say. His IMDb credit just says voice.
So everybody?
Maybe this guy could be trying to be the next Jeffrey Combs. Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you guys, Star Wars Outlaws, you may have heard some stuff about it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I've
really
enjoyed
fun.
It looks pretty amazing.
I played like 10 hours and then I set it down for Dragon Age.
Oh,
But I need to pick it back up.
we need to do a whole separate podcast to talk about this subject. But yeah.
Yeah, I would rather be playing Star Wars Outlaws than Dragon Age, which is why
I'm
I played
about
Star
there. I'm about 10 hours into Dragon Age and I'm feeling that right now.
Yeah,
That's, what that's
I'm
the general.
yeah.
That's the general thing. What's the most recent expansion called?
Oh, they
Veilguard.
just
That's
the
what
new
I'm playing.
game is Veilguard.
Veilguard. That's right. That's what I've been hearing. It's a very different mood.
It feels
very different
the gameplay
vibe.
feels more like the first one than any of the sequels do, which is the nicest thing I can say about it.
Which is the weird thing about Dragon Age is each time there has been no consistency to that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Yahtzee's review of it, and he says all you need to know about the combat system is that they don't even bother to give your in-party allies health bars.
Oh.
And that is 100% all you need to know about the combat system.
Man.
Your mind is already made up.
Yeah.
I better
Okay.
not. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back
So
on topic, 'cause
anyways,
I could
the
derail the
episode-
fuck out of this conversation.
Yeah, I'll talk about Dragon Age for forever. So I felt supreme disappointment with this scene in the UN headquarters because
Which is
we had been
disappointment plus
teased.
sour
Well,
cream
let
and
me-
tomatoes. What?
Okay, it's Taco Bell Supreme.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's Taco Bell. Anyways, because we had been led on last episode, Victor, by you about how great the space battles are in this show. And Avasarala's all like, here's this great fucking space battle. And then Holden's like, and you're never going to see it because we're going to go do this instead. And I'm just like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we've got
close.
Earth and Mars will fight this main force, and Drummer, you'll come over here and fight these guys, and then Holden, you'll sneak around behind, and we don't get the main fight, get a little bit of the side fight, and then
Which
we
was
get
sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. I can understand your disappointment now because having seen all the epic space battles, I've seen the big fleet on fleet battles, and then this was just different.
Yeah.
It was something different than all the other space battles that we've seen, which
I've never
is
been
impressive.
cucked by a sci-fi show before, and I did not enjoy the experience.
And Xhafer, did you catch? So Holden's gonna sneak around with the Rossi and one other
And
ship.
an ice hauler, I have been, quote, this is your full circle moment,
Yes.
written in my notes.
But did you
held my
catch the
tongue
name of it?
So much.
It was
the
the-
Giambattista.
The
It's the one-
Giambattista buddy.
Batista body. This is a ship we've seen before.
It's a type of ship you've seen before. It's
No,
the same
I
type as
feel
the
like the
Canterbury.
name of this ship we've seen
No, this
before.
is the first time.
No?
I'm 100% sure this is the first time you've seen this particular.
First and
the Giambattista.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It blew
But yeah,
up.
it is an ice hauler. Last episode, Ben, you particularly mentioned how it would be cool to have Holden driving an ice hauler to save the day and bring it back. I bit my tongue so hard because I was like, oh, an ice hauler does save the day in the end. So that was a cool bookend that they did here. I really like that.
I do appreciate here in this briefing, Avasarala, leader of the UN and thereby leader of this tripartite alliance, is just like, you're such a fucking optimist. And just like so dismissive. And I'm just like, Avasarala, I would follow you into hell. Like,
Yeah, you guys saw the episode where Miller tells Holden optimism is for Earthers and assholes. That was a
we
quote,
then
yeah.
cut over
But
to
wait,
the...
what is the sorry? What is the Giambattista? Did you?
Oh, just Batista, the wrestler.
Oh, is that a wrestling thing?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not even a wrestling thing. It's a thing
Dave
about
Bautista.
a wrestling
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's the thing about okay. I was just wondering if I missed the reference.
We then cut over to the A-hole
Nerds.
Navy. And over in the A-hole Navy, We've got Philip is back on the bridge, and I'm going to say last time on, Philip killed Tadeo.
Yep. Someone killed Tadeo.
Philip killed Tadeo, and they're just like, okay, you're spiraling, your dad is spiraling, like, you just need to be here. And Guoling is just like, hey, kind of welcome back, but also don't fuck up. And they are talking shit about Drummer, and it's just like this.
What's her? Oh damn! What is her name again? The blonde
Guoling.
Scandinavian. Yeah, I forget what they call her though. Her first name. Anyway, she's like Marco's self-appointed life coach in this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, she tells him to, sit back down, don't fuck it up. And
Marco comes down, and he's just, apparently their plan is just, if we take the ring, we control 1,000 planets, and they control 4.
Yeah, 'cause
and
they've got
fuck 'em.
they've got these magic railguns that are
somehow they have
inside
the super special magic railguns.
Yeah. Well, they did explain that that they got those from Duarte.
But I can also tell you guys,
Yeah.
with how space works, I just need 1 railgun and a couple of mathematicians. Because with the way that momentum works, I can shoot a railgun from the moon and fuck these things.
Right.
I don't need to get close.
Someone actually did the math. They did Xhafer style math, and apparently it was very consistent. Like when explained how long it takes for on screen when it takes the shot fired from the ring station to hit a ship at the edge. Someone did the math and said that these railgun slugs are moving at approximately 64% the speed of light.
That's fucking fast.
Yeah.
It is hard to describe
very
how fast that is.
Oh, it is well over 500 miles an hour, dude. It is very fast.
500 miles an hour doesn't even begin to come close to how fast
That's an
that is.
MST3K joke, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, these railguns are. Oh man, you remember in last episode where that Martian admiral was like, "Fuck it, we're going alone."
Fuck it, we ball.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say last time on they fuck it, we balled right into these guns and
Oh
rode
yeah.
up.
Oh,
yeah,
dude, it was
100%.
such a good scene too. Because
Was it?
Yeah, they had it set up. It
Bummer.
was a real Wharf effect moment where they take out the sentry ships with some stealth missiles.
A
and
wharf
then-
effect where like the ships are coming in and then a giant blue barrel comes in and takes them all out.
Oh yeah, exactly.
A wharf effect where they're just a terrible dad to all these ships and they just are completely demoralized.
That's exactly what happened. But yeah, it is such a cool thing. It showcases like the strength of the skill and the technology of the Martians, and they just get wiped out because they did this badass orbital braking mechanic to where they like Tokyo drifted into the ring with all their guns pointed at going in this massive speed. It was just fucking cool. Anyway.
Jafar,
I know
just so
you
you know,
could've
that
put it
song
in
is in
post.
my brain for the next 3.5 minutes. So
Oh, for sure. It's
Yin
the
Yang
Teriyaki
Twins.
Boys.
So yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, they got wiped out in seconds. And that's another reason the Martian Navy is hurt. Why this entire combined fleet is hurting so badly right now. They're
But this is
struggling.
just like finding out like the American Navy, the British Navy, and half of the Chinese Navy can't stand up against Laos.
Yeah.
And it's just like Laos, if Laos decided to do a bunch of terrorism, they could fuck shit up.
Well, if they had
Why-
alien technology too.
Why are they standing up to the 3 biggest navies in the world?
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
It's still you'd have to blow up so many ships.
A lot of ships were blown up. Yeah, I'll get to it in the recap. Yeah, this is like post-apocalypse in space at this point.
Well, over on the Batista body, again, we make a note as Bobby is loading up her suit and just like moving like belts of ammunition And Amos is like, how does that all fit in there? And it's like, it doesn't. It can't. There's not enough space for it.
But it does.
But Bobby's just like, shut up, it does.
It
Which
fits.
feels like it was written for the fans. Like,
Right.
the rivet counters who are like, okay, I see how big her arm is. How is this feeding bullets into it?
Oh,
and
yeah.
this
Oh,
is
yeah. That's
this
the
is
thing
Amazon
with-
being like, hey, how about you shut the fuck up? Hey,
How about
look
you
at
get
me.
up off my back about
Look
it.
at me. Go suck a dick. Shut up. It shoots bullets.
I'm
It's
the
got
Doctor
missiles.
Who now.
Personal, Hollywood has. I was devastated when growing up as a kid. I saw movies like Predator where they had that big stonking minigun. I was heartbroken when I found out that those are just will never exist in real life. That not only don't exist because those things chew through so much ammo, you would have to have a semi truck behind you carrying the ammo that you're shooting. It's obscene. So I don't care how many Jesse Venturas you have. It's you can't carry a gun like that.
Clarissa gets some bad news. She has a tinnitus attack, and afterwards finds out she has 5 years left to live.
Yeah. And
Which
it said
is-
on that screen that one of the symptoms of her condition is salt cravings.
Ah, I didn't catch that. That's
Yeah.
good. The whole vibe on the Rosie right now is nobody is making out. Nobody is making out. The real vibe on the Rosie right now is that nobody is going to make it out of this alive.
Which is weird because a lot of the people seem to be wanting to make out.
Yeah, that's what I'd be doing
Yeah.
if I wasn't gonna live.
But
We're all
To be
gonna
fair-
die. Let's make out.
I have a question for you.
Yes, Ben.
Who is currently on the Rosie?
Okay, so we have Amos, Clarissa. We have Bobby. We have Holden and Naomi. Am I forgetting someone?
No, that is it.
That's it. Yeah,
That's it.
That's the crew.
So, Xhafer, what happened to our... This is very similar to our crew around the 3rd, 4th season. What happened to our middle crew? Remember that one episode where there was a whole different crew and different
the
people, and there was
Dolphins,
like 40 people on the Rosie, and the only people we recognized was the dumb news reporter?
Yeah, and then none of them mattered, Ben. I said that. I believe I said in that episode that we were never going to see any of these people again, and I didn't bother to learn or write down any of their names because of it.
But the question is, what happened to them?
Oh, dead or on other ships?
Yeah.
Probably some combination of those two things.
I mean, in that scene, they were just leaving space dock. So I assumed. I mean, this is just me. I assumed that a lot of them were just dock workers, just like I don't know, taking out the trash and emptying the lavatory before they set off. So
See, you guys aren't getting weird enough because they were
okay,
leaving.
get weird with it.
Because they were leaving space dock. We know that the real crew is being installed on Tuesday.
Oh God, that's a good one.
But yeah, no, I am wondering how many of these people died, how many of these people betrayed, what happened. And also, I feel like at this point we are 6 years into the Rossi and Holden and all of this. You should have at least 20 people who are just like, hey man, I'm down, we ball. Like, I am actually like, we're fully manning this ship. Later on, we get to a point where like shit is happening, and it's like we have to send Clarissa down to the engine room, and I'm like, why is there nobody in the engine room?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there should be another 10 people on this ship right now.
you're Holden and the Rossi, like.
So that is something about the how she mentioned the ship can't go into battle without a mechanic. That's something that happens several times in this series. You see on various ships that when something's going wrong, the mechanic has to, and they're in the middle of combat, they have to unbuckle their safety harness and climb down and fix whatever's got a hole in it. In the middle of all these crazy ass high G maneuvers, to me, I mean that is the most at the same time. The most realistic and unrealistic thing about this is because it's like it'd be insane trying to work like that. But knowing how people work and how we do shit and how humans just do stupid shit, I could also see that being the only option.
Yeah.
Like I would invest in fucking drones that I could control from my seat to go patch a hole in whatever's wrong. I don't want to be running around a spaceship when it's doing these crazy ass high G maneuvers. It's like donk donk donk. That's insane. Anyway, yeah. So they have some soy taqueños, as they have one last. And this is also another thing you guys missed over. This was like their thing. The crew of the Rossi would occasionally get together and have a home cooked dinner together in the galley of their ship.
Oh, that's
it was
nice.
kind of yeah. It was
Family
almost.
dinner.
Almost like the poker games on Star Trek TNG, just once in a while.
Playing
it'd
the
be a
worst
thing.
version of poker.
Right.
Like, that is the thing I hate most about TNG, more than Code of Honor, is playing 4-card up poker.
Yeah, it's just what is going on. It's because none of them grew up with money, so it has no value for betting, and they just don't
Oh, right.
understand. It's just not
It's still so stupid. But we then, as
Amos found out. By the way, we skipped over this very briefly. Amos found out that there might be refugees on the surface of the Medina station, and so he's decided to go down with the troops.
oh
Hell
yeah,
we're gonna go fuck them up.
because 5 people on this ship is too many. 2 of them are going to go with the strike team. And we also have Clarissa has a tinnitus attack, which I do not appreciate as a person with tinnitus, because it doesn't make me think that something is happening on TV. I just think, oh no, my ears are ringing.
As someone who also has tinnitus, yes,
until she like collapsed onto the ground and was just like, oh shit, what's going on?
After this, the UN forces find the Pella. We cut over to Drummer, who is ready to engage their group as well. They open fire on a frigate. There's one person targets a freighter. None of this really matters, though, because the UN also engages, and they think they found the Pella. They shoot the shit out of it, and then they find out that that's not the Pella, and the Pella is not in that battle group. And this is when the Pella reveals itself to be that weird configured freighter and just destroys fucking everything.
And Ben,
This fucking scene, like, we get like 5 seconds of the space battle, but when the Pella starts opening fire
Yeah.
and then flips on its side to like open all guns like you would in like a sea battle, and they're just like waving in the air.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's how this works.
Yes,
Of
we get a
course it
ruse,
does.
a clever ruse.
I was wondering, Ben, if you were shaking your fist in the air at this scene, because a few episodes back you predicted that there would be a Trojan horse, but you said it was going to be. As I was listening to you make this prediction, I'm like, no, Ben, no, you're being too specific. You said Avasarala was going to pull a Trojan horse. No, it was Marco. He was like, come get my big, tasty, juicy freighter filled with candy.
Which is why, hello everyone. This is Ben, your internet's space fight tactical advisor. If you were ever in a space fight and you see a ship and you're just like, I don't know what that is, shoot it with everything you got. You shouldn't be able to just like strap a bunch of shit to your Martian, super ship and like get away with it. And like, I know what we're doing here. Like, I understand. Oh, hey, we've got Marco in his own Martian ship. He is the dark mirror to Holden and the Rossi. Like, oh, they've both got their secret Martian ships. And it also just makes me think like, shit, Mars, like, you are really bad at keeping track of your top of the line Martian ships. Which
Also a big plot point we missed, but yes, go ahead.
I don't know. It feels like everybody just gets shot to shit instantly, which I kind of appreciated. Like, one of the things I hate about Star Trek is that shields are how strong a deflector shield is or anything is plot dependent.
Right. Just like warp drive. It how does it work? It works however the plot requires.
How long can the Enterprise take shots from 4 Romulan warbirds? I don't know. Does Picard and Data need to come to an understanding about what's been happening for the other 30 minutes of this episode? In which case it'll take about 7 minutes. Otherwise, shields are immediately down, and oh no, it's a crisis. When 2 old Klingon birds of prey take out their shields in like no time at all. In this, it is oh, hey, they're shooting giant hunks of metal through space with their machine guns, and it hits you, and half the crew is dead.
Yeah,
Shit,
something
that sucks.
Something that terrifies me is whenever I see from videos from NASA talking about the astronauts in the ISS, talking about micro meteoroids and debris and how much damage just something the size of a pebble can do when it's moving at these insane high speeds. That gives me so much fucking anxiety, dude. Like, if I'm in space and I'm scared of a hailstorm that could, oh, God.
But I also
It's
really
terrifying.
appreciated it because it reminds me of one of the greatest films of all time, Master and Commander: Far Side of the World, and just how, like, sea
The
naval
Russell Crowe
battles
movie?
are. Yes.
Okay. Haven't seen
Russell
it yet.
Crowe,
Yeah.
Paul Bettany. Beautiful, like
Oh,
one
wow.
of the greatest depictions of naval life. It is meticulously researched. I've actually written research about that film for other podcasts.
Nice.
Because it is one of the few depictions of a thing called the knock gun, which you've probably never heard of because it only existed for like 15 years. That, like, the middle of the Napoleonic era, they're just like, okay, we have like guns now. Everybody just uses guns. We figured that out. What all can we do with guns? And one of the ideas they had was, what if I take a rifle, but give it 6 rifle barrels?
Oh,
Yeah.
And it is like it looks kind of like a minigun,
yeah.
except
it just fires them all at once.
it fires 6 rifle rounds at once.
That makes sense.
And it's like, what is it?
I think
What is it?
Okay.
What
I
does
know
it
what you're
do?
talking about. Yeah.
Well, it fucks up your shoulder.
right.
You get to fire that thing once, and then you're spending the next 3 minutes reloading the motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it
You know,
it was not useful, and they were just like, yeah, this is dumb.
So, something I love about the Expanse is that whenever a ship it knows that they're about to go into battle, what they do is you see the crew
Everybody
is
put on their
always
space
in
suits?
Yeah, and what they do is they decompress the interior, so that way, if a round goes through the ship, it's not going to cause a massive, big.
Nobody's
problem,
getting sucked
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of brilliant. It's so cool the world building of that, because that's realistic. Yeah, if you're in combat, you're going to want to vent the ship, and I think they say in the series they put the air in the tanks, so they could put so they don't waste the oxygen. They put it, and then they depressurize the cabin, and everyone's in their suits geared up. So yeah.
But it does make me
really
think
like
of those old things where it's just like, the cannonball blowing through, and instead of like the wood splinters, you've just got shards of metal going through, and then you've got
It's
people.
terrifying.
We get such a cool shot of Dremmer looking over, and there's just a giant
whole
hole.
ship, yes.
and it's just one of those like, all right, half of my bridge crew is dead. I'm only alive because I'm wearing a space suit, and space is right there.
Space is right there.
Which is a thing like you never like. The only time we get anything close to that is like Year of Hell in Voyager,
Oh, right,
where
yeah.
the front of the Voyager bridge is gone. But even then, we don't get a phaser like, "Hey, here is a giant compacted beam of fuck you energy, like punching through somebody's bridge, and like, hey, science officer, comms, and tactical are gone." Like,
Yeah, they did that. They did it a few times in like the J.J. Abrams movies because they went full, adrenaline with that shit and explosion stuff. But yeah. This is it's a pretty real threat. A big hole in your spaceship.
and then
Yeah.
this makes me
Shit's fucked.
so sad. Dremmer is just like, okay, we fucked them up a little bit. We are completely fucked. Like our reactor is about to explode. Set a collision course. We're gonna ram these motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah.
We're all about to die, but we got to stop them. And like, as the committed, I'm always looking for my hill to die on guy. Like, seeing somebody find the hill where they're about to die, I'm just like, you go, Dremmer. I'm not crying. You're crying. And then to watch her subordinate
Somebody
be
else
like,
die on that hill.
yeah,
Walker. Yeah, I loved this guy. He was a really cool character, man.
he was the
fucking
guy
loved him.
from the last episode who was the oh holy fucking shit guy.
I really empathized with this character. I liked him a lot. He was,
But I loved his call in, and he's just like, hey, I see what you're doing. I beat you to
to
the
it.
punch, boss man. Boom, and he's gone. And it's just like, oh damn, like I don't know, like I'm tearing up just thinking about it. Like it was cool.
man.
It was a sweet moment. Like, hey, I get to call into the person I respect and be like, hey, I see that you had the same idea I had. Sorry, I lit the engines a little faster. Bye, buddy.
Yeah, that was pretty epic. Oh man, I'm glad you liked it though, because this this episode was man.
Yep.
Yeah, so then we see that Walker, his final kamikaze run, did a little bit of damage to the Pella, but still operational.
Shut down 2 of the drives, so it's gonna take more time to get up to speed, presumably.
Damage report says they lost 1 main character.
Yeah,
Rosenfeld.
Dueling
that's her name.
dies. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really sad. And then Drummer realizes that her fleet is totally disabled, so they order a retreat and hails the Rocinante and says, "Good luck."
It's all on
now."
you, buddy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're plummeting towards the ring with the ice hauler.
Yep,
And,
we see it drop thousands of storage crates.
Which is a really cool tactic, man. What'd you guys think of this tactic?
So they drop like 1,000, right? Like it's 1,000 something storage crates, and there are like 30 of them that have 2 people in them. I think.
I think it's just 1 each.
One each?
One per pod. Yeah, they're spread out. There's
Okay.
There's 3 platoons. Yeah, the Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie.
Did you guys catch their names?
Oh yes.
They're all a lot of them are all names from
all-
Alien.
Every
Aliens.
single one of them. Well, from various sci-fi
Yeah,
franchises.
but
If you
I
pause
noticed
it, yeah.
Hicks and
Ripley.
Ripley and
There's also there's Idaho D. There's Rico J. Yeah, Sarah Connor. There's Kara Thrace. I mean, it's their first initial, but yeah, they
it was so cool.
Commander Shepard too from
Nice.
Akbar. They have an Akbar on there. Every single one of these was an Easter egg. I was worried you guys might read into this a little too much and be all just like, oh, it's connected to everything.
Well, all I can say to that is I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Yeah. Yeah, that was totally just an Easter egg.
No, that was cool. I love when
That was
I love
fun.
when shows do like, hey, I know we're working on our own thing, but we love sci-fi.
You can find on the Expanse wiki a list of every single name and who it's a reference to. A couple of them were references to real life friends of the showrunners. So,
Cool.
yeah, it was really nice. Giving them a shout out there.
Also,
So, yeah,
as somebody who was just in a play, I did appreciate Bobby being like, you don't say good luck. Good luck is bad luck. And I'm like, yeah, you say break a leg. Good luck is bad luck. Stop it. You know this. But in their case, you say good hunting, and it's like, you guys
That
have
was
been
also
kind.
straight out of Battlestar Galactica as well.
Yeah.
That line.
But it's also like, you guys have been like doing this for 6 years. You should know this by now.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Clarissa's new. She's
She's only been there for 4 years.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the ice hauler dumps all these crates through the ring, and they start getting shot up immediately by the rail guns. Naomi turns up the evasive pattern to maximum, and Bobby's saying, "Buckle up! It's going to be 15 G's," which is just it's ridiculous.
You would die.
I looked this up, and this is that's impossible.
Yeah, some Goku shit.
Most human beings, regular ass Joes like you and me, we would pass out after 5 Gs. Fighter pilots in their
The special
specialized
pants.
flight suits can only stand 9 Gs for brief periods of time, and yeah, it's insane. But that in the very first episode, we saw that when they do high G maneuvers, they strap in and they get the juice. So that's a complete plot device that they have this magic space drug that lets you survive insane, G forces. So I imagine that's what's going on there. Because fucking 15 Gs. That's, I don't know. I'm sure Xhafer could do the math for this.
We also find out that
could.
the
I
Rossi
won't.
is only able to do what it's doing because it got some new armor. So, which reminds me that last
I
time
actually
on,
have a problem with this.
well, because last time on they got new Borg ablative armor, just like the last episode of Voyager.
This is true. But what's your problem, Xhafer?
So Marcos is like, oh, there's another surprise waiting for them. And I think at the end we find out this is something that was supposed to be coming from Duarte that didn't.
Yes.
But my initial reaction was, oh, the surprise was ion cannons. Like, so they get hit and they're like, oh, but we're fine. And then the ship's power starts failing immediately. Right? And I'm like, oh, well, they got hit with a weapon that drains their power and wasn't meant to fuck with their armor. It was meant to fuck with their engine up somehow. And that's why when she goes down there, there's lightning everywhere. And I'm just like, what is going on exactly here? And then it just ended up never being explained. It was just they got hit and it was an engine thing.
Yep. Yeah, it just punched a hole through a fuel line or something.
And the surprise never gets there. And it's just like, okay.
And we have Bobby and Amos doing their best Halo ODST. And man, they do a bad job here. Like, I don't know who these guys are, but it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, yeah, a lot of more of you died than you expected. I understand that. But from my understanding, you guys are supposed to be like the best Earth, Mars, and the Belt can put together.
The best of what's left.
But they're just getting shot up by
they don't have any
Jamoke
control.
pirates.
Yeah, they don't have any control over their pods. That's just like
oh no, I mean once they hit the ground.
Oh, once they hit the ground. Oh, well, real quick, I wanted
yeah.
to say that I used this exact same tactic in Star Trek Armada, the old real-time strategy games you guys ever played. That was a great. game.
Yeah, that game was great.
Mm-hmm.
I had shout out to my old roommate Chewy. I doubt you're ever going to listen to this, but fuck you, Chewy, because you used to. This guy used to. I would always play Romulan. He would always play Borg, and he would drain all the resources on the fucking map and make this massive impenetrable wall of cubes that would just slowly expand. And the Borg were so overpowered in that game. But I finally figured out how to beat them, and it was using the same tactic. I built a shitload of tiny little mining ships and sent them all towards the wave, but hidden were like one or two, I think they were called the Romulan Phoenix, which is like a big, massive antimatter bomb. And I would set him off before he could target it, and boom! I finally figured out how to beat the Borg. Fuck you, Borg. But yeah, I used this exact same tactic. The Marines, the Space Marines, they land on the station a little too. I mean, it's a rough landing, but it says 15 Gs, and they just kind of like oof and roll off and get back up.
It didn't feel like 15 Gs, but I did empathize with Amos here because when he launches, I can only assume based off of his grunting, the way he's holding on, and the speed at which particles are flying from his chair that he had Chipotle for dinner.
Yeah, that was totally. Yeah, it totally looks like he's just. Yeah.
And
oh man, I gotta make a joke.
We then end Operation Take Over the Base just turns into Operation No, Bobby just kills them all. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, no, fuck it. I'll do it myself.
She does a little when she first lands. She was it was way too comfortable of a landing for her. She just Iron Man floated her way in and just like bloop, I'm good. I wish they would have made it a little more dramatic. Like if there was ever a time for it to be appropriate to do the Marvel superhero landing where she just lands and it goes dunk, yeah. That would have been it. But she just kind of casually glides in. Then they get shot to shit, and Amos tells everyone to get below deck to. What I think is really cool is because there's two stations here inside the ring space. One of is the big orb, the big sphere that's the alien sphere, and then you have Medina Station, which is a little space station that the OPA set up. And that's like the command and control of the ring space, and they start dropping troops down from the station down to the surface, which I thought was really fucking cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah. So they start taking fire from above, and their mission was to be to capture the objective. Was going to be to capture the railguns, but they're all getting shot to shit, and Bobby just unleashes a shitload of missiles from her suit and just blows it up. It's like, fuck. Yep.
Yeah.
But I have to wonder here, if we found out Space Ring takes us to 1,100 new systems, hundreds of worlds. How is this not the most secure place in the galaxy? How was
Well, I mean, it is
pirate
Marcos
douchebag
anyone.
able to take it over? It's like if Somali pirates took over San Diego.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
And I believe I firmly believe they wrote a story. But I'm just like, no,
You
Somali
missed
pirates
out.
aren't taking over San Diego.
This would be if like Raytheon and Boeing and all the Department of Defense contractors secretly gave the Somali pirates their best gear that they have, their F-22s and whatever the hell they're building. Yeah, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we also have this bit where Marco finds out he's been betrayed by Duarte and the thing he wants isn't coming. And we get this bit where Marco is just always talking about, you're betraying the cause. It's like, they're not betraying the cause. They're betraying you, dipshit. You are not the
He is
cause.
the cause. He is the cause. In his mind, he is the cause.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what he thinks.
That's what he thinks.
And this just made me like instantly think back to that briefing we got at the beginning where I'm just like, I would follow Avasarala into hell, and I would not follow Marco into the bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't follow anyone into the bathroom. It's kind of a weird conversation.
It's a public bathroom. I don't trust him to take me to, like, if I ask Marco, where's the men's room? And he said, follow me. I'd just be like, just tell me where it is.
Anyway, I like at the end here how Duarte tells him to fuck off in his own language.
Yeah.
Oye dang Beltalota.
I
That was
googled
pretty
it.
dope.
I figured it was the last episode I was allowed.
Awesome.
I wanted to know what that word was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
what word?
have.
Oye
Oye
dang. It basically means farewell, goodbye. Yeah. That.
How does this happen, though? This conversation shouldn't be happening, right? Because the whole point of this is, well, so the Rossi comes in, right?
Right.
What's the first thing that the Rossi does when
Drops
this battle starts?
Drops a relay beacon.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They say they destroy the comms on Medina Station.
Yes, on
That's
Medina.
like yeah. So how is Marcos having a conversation with Duarte?
Okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just uncovered a plot hole that I completely missed. Yeah.
And how does
a good point.
Marcos know that the railguns are destroyed before they get there if the Medina
Yeah.
comms are down too?
Yeah, you're right. Huh. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's a very good point. That is a actual plot hole because they haven't gone through the ring yet, and that's something that they address when they first start exploring the ring space. Is they have to, in order to maintain communication with the colony that's on the other side of a galaxy in another galaxy somewhere, they have to deploy a relay, a communication relay. It's really fucking cool. It's like a long satellite with two ends, and half of it's halfway through the gate, so you
That
can
makes sense to me.
communicate.
Yeah.
It's really fucking cool the way they do it. So,
But then we
but yeah,
the
but no,
Rossi-
Clarissa mentions that as soon as they go through the ring, they drop a relay. It's done off camera, but she mentions relay is active, so they can communicate with Avasarala. So they make that point so that you can. So that explains how they're able to communicate with Avasarala on the other side. But yeah, Marco would be in a communication blackout at this point, unless Duarte sent that message before the battle started and he's just now getting it.
Then how would he know the railguns were destroyed?
He would. That still
because
doesn't
he
explain the railguns.
literally he walks out of that meeting and goes, the railguns are destroyed. We need a plan to rebuild them.
That is definitely he should not know about that. Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I don't want to be the nitpicky guy. I was just wondering if there was
No,
something
dude,
with
it's
the,
part
the
of-
communications work that I
It's
missed.
part of sci-fi culture. We're supposed to nitpick this shit, dude. It's a whole kink.
But then we get something dropped on us
What do we get dropped?
where the Rossi is too fucked up. They're like, we're not going to be able to stop the Pella, but you know who can? The ring
the
entities.
aliens.
Fucking aliens.
Who we
Yeah.
never see.
No,
We
see
do.
them. We
No,
do.
we
don't.
see them.
We do.
Yeah.
No, we
We
do.
don't.
We see them physically eat Marcos.
They do. That's what.
They're the
Yeah.
like things
No,
running around consuming him.
I went
That
back
was just
and I listened
red light
to
bullshit. I don't know.
No, the red bullshit is the aliens.
It
yeah.
was terrible
is-
CGI.
That is as those. So that's what we see is the ring entities, as they're called, as we as humans can perceive them because they're extra dimensional beings.
I don't know. This is just season 5 of Deep Space Nine, where it's like, will the prophets stop this?
Yes. Oh, you are so cool for knowing that.
Stop
reference.
this fleet
Yeah,
from going through.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. The prophets stop them.
But yeah, so we have ring entities now that are still extant. Xhafer, what happened to her?
What the hell happened?
But I got the van.
I want to talk more about Deep Space Nine and that fleet first.
Yeah, we're not going to
'Cause
do
you
that.
know
We're
that's-
talking about this.
No, I want to know because that's actually a plot in Star Trek Online.
You played
Is
that
it-
mission when
wasn't-
the yes.
Yeah, it wasn't that the prophets got rid of that fleet. They just delayed them showing up for like 40 years, and then they show
They
up
show
in
up
Star
40
Trek
years
Online
later.
and fuck shit up.
That was such a fun mission.
So good.
It is so cool that you played that. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking Star Trek Online. I would still be playing it, but it's too expensive, even if for a fucking free-to-play game. I
Somehow,
can't afford it.
right? Ugh.
But
What are you
this
gonna
whole
fucking
thing
do?
made me mad. I don't.
Was this the part that I got your text saying that you were mad or something about it? Because I had some anxiety when I got your text when you guys finished the episode. What you said is about I've got. What did you say? You're not happy with it. Okay, yeah. I want to know what you're not.
I
happy
don't
about.
like the guy who's been my big bad for like what 2 seasons now,
Yeah.
just disappearing in red light.
It was somewhat of a disappointing ending for him.
Like,
would've
I want
loved
him-
to see him. Yeah,
like,
get
he
his face
did-
blown off. Or,
He did go out like a
Yeah.
bitch. Like he's
did,
just like,
yeah.
huh? Huh? It's like, yeah, fuck you, Marco. But it's also like, no, I want to see him like get shot with a torpedo or blown into space. I don't want him just to get picked apart by
erased.
laser pointers.
Yeah,
And-
and he was wearing his man bun for his final death scene.
And
as
I don't
well.
like that it's like, hey, we managed to trick these aliens into doing a thing for us because we blew up a ship. It's not like, hey, we communicated with them and let them know, like, this guy's evil and he's doing bad shit. It's just like, hey, with this one neat trick, you might be able to make aliens do what you want. Here's the one thing the IRS doesn't want you to know about killing terrorists with your space ring.
Yeah.
But that said, I do appreciate where we immediately go after this, which is the fallout from winning.
Yeah.
And I
Go back.
appreciate that this is a show that does that as much as the end of the Marco story was disappointing to me.
It was a
Yeah.
little anticlimactic. I would have loved to
For
see
sure.
something a little more. But,
Well, and it's like we also
I think it's 'cause
only
they
see
tried to-
his ship involved. We never see the main fight. We never see
Right.
what happened to the other part of his wing that wasn't the Pella.
it's because they tried to cram a lot into this final episode, which
And
they
I
wouldn't have had to
understand.
do if they wouldn't have done the 6-episode season. I hate this new trend with TV. It's like, God, tell the whole fucking story. Jeez. It's not like you don't have the money for it, jackasses. Anyway.
And we find out that once again, Holden is the specialist boy.
Drummer runs this fucking table.
Hell yeah, she
Like,
does.
like Beth did not watch a lot of this with me, but she watched this scene. And I just had to be all like, this is why Drummer is the best character in this show.
Oh, she's so awesome. I love her.
Avasarala still exists.
Man, Ben, your imperialist is showing.
Yeah. Her there was a joke that there was a funny meme going around from that one episode that we saw her with her robot legs because she had her spine crushed in an accident. When she was laying in the hospital bed after the accident, she had her makeup gone, and we were all just like, "Oh, she gets her power from her eyeshadow."
Yeah.
So I know the answer is no for Ben because it would have come up already. But I don't know the answer for you, Victor.
What's that?
There is a Telltale game set in the Expanse universe that is a prequel focusing on Drummer.
Yes.
Have
not
you
played
played
it?
it?
No,
Okay.
I haven't played it yet. Yeah. I'm not even sure if I can play it. I don't know. I have to find a device capable of running it. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I gotta get caught up on some other shit before I allow myself to get sucked into another video game. But anyway, that's a conversation for another time.
So the board gets together. They decide an independent organization, the Transport Union, is going to run the hub here, as it were, in the gate. They name Holden President Umaro Nuno. And he immediately, his first act as president is to step down so that Drummer, the vice president, becomes the president.
His first official act is I quit. I fucking love that, man. That is just so dope.
It's like, I get why, and I agree that like putting it in charge of you probably actually want a neutral third party in charge of this thing.
Yeah.
Right.
For a number of reasons. And I get why he feels the need to do what he's doing. But also, like,
Don't put a
fuck you,
pirate
dude.
queen in charge of the most important space station.
Right.
Like, I like Drummer. Like, she seems cool. I also don't count, like, it. I expect if there was a season 7, we would find out, like, hey, people are trying to, like, cheat on their tax forms and she's just spacing them. Like, like she just goes to 11 because that's the Belter way.
Yeah, our boy Ashford was kind of a while he was still alive, he was kind of a voice of reason to her, saying that it was like, hey, we got to be recognized as a legitimate government now. I know, in our pirate days, what we would do is we would just space anyone who has a transgression, but now we got to be a little more civilized if the inners are going to see us as civilized.
No, because Belter,
as a
come and get
Belter.
shot into space.
But one thing they don't bring up, and I wish they would have made more of a part of, is a reason that it's such a point of contention of why the Belters want control of the ring space, is because the ring, it's located in between the orbits of Uranus and Neptune. Now, Ben, go ahead and get your Uranus joke in. I will pause. I will wait for you to make your Uranus joke.
I'm sorry, I would, but well, it since you set me, like, it has to be unexpected.
I just knew it was going to come, Ben. I knew you were going to say something about Uranus. It was like, oh, it's Uranus.
Actually, it's Uranus.
Anyway, but that
was a good Uranus joke, Ben.
Uranus.
No. Before that, it has to be unexpected. I understand what you were going for there. I just want to call it out.
Oh, okay. I think I know where you're going.
If you want to get that far into space, you have to prepare. If you're gonna go to Uranus, like, you have to do some prep.
You want to make sure you know everyone's involved. You've discussed beforehand. You don't just go to Uranus.
No.
No, that's a bad time for everyone involved.
So it should never be a surprise.
No.
It should never be surprise Uranus. So
The best
Especially-
way to get to Uranus is to come actually from Neptune, because you want to actually come in the back door.
there it is. There it is.
You asked for this. I
I
wasn't
knew it
actually
was
going
there
to do it.
somewhere. Oh, I knew it was going to happen. So.
Do we have another 38 minutes of Uranus jokes in us?
Challenge
can we
accepted.
Stretch this to 2 hours right now?
Well,
I just
Xhafer,
wanna
when you're doing Uranus jokes, you don't want stretching, because stretching leads to tearing.
You definitely don't want tearing.
Yeah, and we don't want tearing.
Terrible.
Anyway, so the ring, when it first appeared, it was in what is traditionally considered Belter territory. It's on the outer.
When it first appeared,
Yes.
you're implying that it moves?
Yeah. So okay, we're here. We're at the end of the finale. Remember the space squid?
Yeah.
That turned into the ring. That's what it was doing. It was leaving Venus, and it was headed towards the outer orbit to form the ring. Nobody knew what the fuck it was doing. It was just, it started doing shit, and the whole human race was watching it like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, it formed the ring. I will explain in depth in our recap episode.
Next episode. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. But yeah, it's in Belter territory, but of course Earth and Mars they want it. They the humanity wants to go expand through the stars, and yeah, Belters are like, no, fuck you. It's in our space. They didn't bring that up enough. I felt in this episode, saying, it's like, wait, why should we let you have anything? You've been shitting on us this entire, our entire existence.
Mm-hmm.
So, but also I do kind of feel like Drummer overestimates the cooperation of Earth and Mars, saying that with 3 votes, it's not really 3 because the 2 of you can always vote us down. I think she's overestimating the cooperation between, Earth and Mars there. But anyway,
I mean, they're the same.
That's another conversation. Yeah. In her eyes, they're the same.
So.
I do appreciate that Avasarala calls Holden a duplicitous shit. And I'm like, oh man, she's gonna mule kick you right now.
Dude, yeah, the way she says that is just, woo, it's fierce. Yeah. But Holden manages to talk her down.
And so here we get a bit where Holden, his whole being is going around and being the hero and like helping out where needed, and they try to shackle him to this politician role, which is metaphorically killing him. Like this would kill Holden, but it doesn't take. He quits.
Oh. I was wondering where you were going with this. Yeah, sure. Okay, Ben.
Okay, Victor gave me the points.
No, I didn't give you shit.
No, you just said okay. Everyone heard you. It was a metaphor.
Speaking of The Martian, that was the 2015 movie The Martian. Sean Bean was in it, and he actually survived till the end. So I remember
he does that from time to time.
Yeah, but his career was dead by the end of the episode because he did a bunch of shit without permission and stuff, and they're like, well, she lived, but he killed his career. So okay, so it still counts.
Wait, who?
Sean Bean in The Martian. He was in The Martian.
I didn't. Okay.
That was just just reminded me of that with your whole thing.
We then found out the least subtle bit of foreshadowing that Philip is still alive because, duh, he managed to somehow sneak off the ship and eject.
Right.
So close.
Man,
So
I
close
know.
to 2
When you were making your predictions, you were about to run the board, and I wish I could have been there watching this episode with you when you saw it for the first time, so you could, because when Naomi blew up the Pella and she killed Marco, you were all just like, "Yep, I called it," and then right at the end, they snatched those points away from you. Right
I knew the second we never saw Philip die. Or some reaction of like, what's this glowy shit? Like, Philip ain't here. Philip gone.
Mm-hmm.
He stole Tadeo's escape pod, and Tadeo was just like, no.
Oh yeah, Tadeo's so dead.
Oh yeah, Tadeo's so dead.
Yeah, so dead. So
Tadeo not going to be here tomorrow.
The Rossi Departs series. And Holden and Naomi are decided to take a moment to rest in between seasons, and that's where we leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you watch the credits,
end of the show.
If you watch the credits to the end, you'll see the ring entities sparkle a little bit in the ring. Towards the end of the credits, you get the little red flashes, and then you see the outline of Ben's goo ship coming through the ring right before it goes to black and the series ends. And it's such a fucking cock tease, man, for readers of the books. Because I haven't gotten this far in the book yet, but I spoiled it for myself. I'm one of those people. Like, when I get a new book, I'll flip to the very end and read the final page before I they go back to the... I know, I'm a fucking heathen. I know Ben is giving me a look of disgust right now, but
no,
I
that
always
was disdain. That was not disgust. That was disdain.
But yeah, I spoiled the ending for myself of the book series, which is... But yeah, there's so much more to come. Like Xhafer, you predicted there would be a time jump. Yes, but after the series. It comes later in the books. We get some big time jumps. It's like, damn it. Oh, man. And yeah, Duarte, as you guys predicted, he is the next big bad. He makes Marco look like fucking Bob Ross.
Cool.
Yeah, I know.
Glad
Why
to see
the fuck did
space still
McAfee-
drives men to madness.
McAfee security scan just took over my desktop. What the fuck?
You should
System.
uninstall that because
Yeah, I
that's
really should.
bad software.
God damn, it's never done this before.
I mean, McAfee's like running around in the ocean somewhere, right?
He's
Or did he end up
dead.
going to jail. Oh, he's dead. That's right.
But like the person who actually invented McAfee?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
he did.
Well, that's our episode, guys. We did it. How would you rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10 Belta Lotus? Or just rate the series, I should say.
Rate the series on 1 to 10 Belta Lotus?
Yeah.
I like. Okay, so as a podcast, in our coverage of shows, I feel like we have a really strong history of hitting banger reps. And I feel like this time we hit a banger rep. And I think we suffered for it.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys definitely missed all the
Because
best parts.
I did not particularly like The Expanse.
Ah, damn.
I
I hope at some point you go back and watch the whole thing. But
I think I would like it if I watched the whole thing. I think that normally our patent pending method here has been a good way to experience television in a brief manner, and I think we've done well. And I think this is experiment failure, even more so than Into the Badlands. Where I think I said something along those lines, where Breaking Bad was too good of a show for our method, because everything always made sense because the show is very good at making sure you know what's going on, compared to Into the Badlands, where it is not good at making sure you know what's going on, and it can be very confusing at times.
I found this more
Here-
confusing than Into the Badlands.
I would agree.
yeah.
I think that this show is too dense for this method of consumption.
Yeah, it's very much one of those that you have to watch. You can't miss an episode. You have to watch everything,
Yeah.
the whole thing all the way through. It was like that. I remember saying that a lot, ironically enough, when Battlestar Galactica first aired. I would tell friends about it, and they'd be like, "Oh, dude, come over this weekend. We'll watch it." And I would have to start over because I couldn't just let them watch the most recent episode. We have to watch it from the beginning to get them to caught up. So yeah, it's. I think this is one of those. What do you think, Ben?
I don't know. I'm trying to like. I will admit, like, I feel like this is the most. Like, I knew who all of our players were.
Right.
Like, I wasn't completely lost. But then they drop like ring entities on us, and I'm just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, you guys completely missed the whole everything that has to do with the ring entities. And yeah, Naomi's thing is like, wait a minute, guys, Deus Machina.
Yeah.
or Deus Machina. How do you, I
And
always
also, I'm
pronounce
just
it.
like, I'm a little disappointed because I wanted my hard sci-fi, and I know that's not what this is.
It is, but you didn't.
And it's fine. I shouldn't judge a thing for not being what I wanted it to be, because I also love lots of silly bullshit sci-fi. Why do G's not exist in Star Wars? Because fuck you. That's why.
This is harder sci-fi.
It is harder than a lot. I just
Yeah.
wanted. I wanted full like 2010, 2001, stuff where it's,
Yeah.
we have like this is clearly, steps further than like Babylon 5.
Yeah. Season 1 is astrophysics. From season 2 beyond is theoretical physics.
Yeah. And I was asked if I had a degree in theoretical physics, and I said I had a theoretical degree in physics, and they hired me right away.
And that's our show. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, the last part of our recording got cut off. Didn't make it into the final cut here, but we got 95, maybe even 98% of it. So just wanted to wrap things up, say thank you to Ripe for letting us use Goon Squad as our theme music for the podcast. Check them out on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you can find streaming music. Thank you to you, the listener. Please leave us a review if you like the episode. And if you'd like to send us a message that we can read here on air, if you have any questions or comments or just anything you want to talk about, send us a text on our text line at 808-862-5580. And we will see you next time on Last Time On. Oh, and big apologies. I'm getting over a cold, so I was kind of stuffy, and I'm still raising a puppy, so you probably heard her like barking and yapping in the background. She's 6 months old. Her name's Daisy. She's adorable and beautiful, and that's my cat Shinzon right now making some noise because my pets always have to misbehave whenever I'm recording. Anyway, once again, yes, Shinzon, thank you very much. We will see you next time on Last Time On.